You're live.
A two-shot, maybe?
Maybe. Oh, wait,
It's
what's
a
that?
good-looking two-shot right there.
There's my phone.
All right. Let's make it official with that open.
Wait a second.
Why is that?
We're going to go live on Instagram.
All right, got to go live on Instagram first. Freak Nation, bear with us.
I'm looking.
Gotta do it for the gram.
All right, now
Do
we're
it
ready.
for the gram. Oh,
Fuel
shoot.
up.
That's where Bob Ross was.
Yep.
Live from the Lucas Oil Studios, it's Horsepower Hump Day. Because every NASCAR fan needs a push of the old bumper to get them over that hump.
Stop. Oh, my God.
Here's Kenny, Crash, Richie, and Cole. Let's get humping, boys.
Need of some speed. I have no idea where I'm going with that, other than it's been fairly dark when it comes to your motorsports headlines over the last week and a half. However, NASCAR dropped some news regarding the all-star race format. Rodney Childers is out as crew chief at Spire. The NASCAR Hall of Fame nominees were announced. Katherine Legge says, I ain't going to take this kind of crap. And Homestead finale was announced earlier last week, right?
This week.
Was it this week?
Officially. This week, Monday, I believe.
Okay, 2026, something that we claimed that we knew about a long damn time ago. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
We were on it.
Mm-hmm.
Richie was calling bullshit, but we were saying, no, it's going to be at Homestead. Right, Richard?
Yeah, you guys were all conspiracy theory corner over here when the Homestead Miami Speedway leaked on their website a link to purchase tickets for a November 2026 race, which people speculated was indeed at the same time a championship race would be. And I said, BS, that's total crap. It was just a placeholder date, and it appears I was wrong. And the people of the internet were right. So congratulations, Internet Sleuths. You made it work.
And for those who say NASCAR doesn't listen to the fans and the drivers, there you go. We're going back to Homestead.
Yep.
Yay. How many people complained about Homestead before Phoenix became the official? I'm just like,
I know we complained this year about that race at Homestead.
The lasting memory I have from Homestead is Kurt Busch winning the championship.
0405? What
04.
year was that? 04?
04.
Okay.
After, again, we didn't have this conversation prior to going live, Freak Nation, so this may be a little foggy. But Kurt Busch winning the championship after losing a wheel, right? Didn't that happen?
That did happen.
Yeah,
Right?
foggy.
That was 2004.
Yeah.
Right. That was when he won the championship. Yeah.
That's the only long-lasting memory I have of Homestead and the championship race.
Tony Stewart's
yeah.
championship win
I was going to say
pretty spectacular, too.
that was a incredible, very memorable championship for me. I mean, even the one Jimmy 7 championship was a really memorable one as
Valid.
well. I'm not going to sit here and put down Homestead as a championship race because they have put on some really good shows and some really good points battles and whatnot. But I think it's going to be tough to replicate the engagement and stuff you get from Phoenix. It's world-class facility. They've sold out 7 straight races for the Cup Series. And yeah, I mean, I get why NASCAR did it, but Homestead has put on some really good races for the championship.
I like how Cole's camera is focused on Bob Ross over his right shoulder. Go to the single shot.
I don't understand that. We messed with this damn camera over and over again before we went live here, and it was fine. Now that we're live, nope, not fine.
Yeah, that's what it is.
We'll get it working here in a moment.
Yeah,
We all have our memories of Homestead. You guys have yours. I have mine. Again, Homestead just doesn't hold a whole hell of a lot of. I understand the significance of Stewart's win. I understand the significance of Jimmy Johnson's championship, but you celebrate Super Bowls not necessarily by how many championships that team's won. It's about what you remember from that game. And the Falcons and Patriots game comes to mind when you start thinking about Super Bowls. It's just, what am I going to remember about a certain race? What am I going to remember about a certain event? That Jimmy Johnson won 7 championships? I couldn't tell you I couldn't tell you who finished second then.
Oh, that was the one that Carl Edwards was in line to win his first championship and he wrecked. That was a really good one in my opinion.
I don't remember it.
Really?
I don't remember it.
I don't remember it either.
No.
What? Oh,
No.
I don't.
That's crazy.
I do. Again, I know the significance of what kept my interest with Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards was who the hell ever it was at the time, Fox, NBC, CBS,
No.
TNT, versus Network, whoever was showing the race, how they kept me interested or engaged in it by showing where Carl Edwards and Tony Stewart were on the track and how they were going to, if they were to finish, who was going to win at that point.
But what you're basically saying is that was a spectacular race. It was an awesome jaunt to the finish, but it wasn't because of Homestead. It wasn't because of the facility. Is that what you're saying?
It very similar to that.
Okay.
It also goes back to our whole Bristol conversation. Bristol in March is different than Bristol in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And we know that they're going to race Homestead different than they did during the regular season.
Which was just a couple weeks ago,
Right.
Which was a snooze fest.
So I understand all that. But, and we didn't even expect to spend this much time on talking about the goddamn finale for 2026, did we?
No.
But we did.
No.
Thank you, Richie, for allowing us to do that, producer Paul. All right.
I wonder, can I read a comment from Patrick? Because this would be great. Patrick just commented on our YouTube page and he said, going to a super speedway drafting track, chaos is to be expected by any of them on the schedule. So he would say going to a super speedway and drafting track for the championship finale, which I think would be the greatest thing that could happen in NASCAR.
Honestly,
oh my God, that'd be incredible.
They start the season that way.
Yeah.
You might as well bookend your season that way. Start and finish with complete unpredictability. I kind of like it.
Here come the racing purists.
The racing
Cole.
purists
Here
are gonna
comes
hate it.
Cole. Here comes Cole.
Yeah, but my that would be that, honestly, if I was in charge of NASCAR, Cole, that's what I would do. I would not go to a mile and a half. I would not go to any of the traditional tracks because it's fine. Like there doesn't interest me at all. But if you really want to crown a champion, you got to be good everywhere. You got to be good at super speedways. You got to be good at all these other tracks. So why not make it a road course? Can you imagine? That'd be incredible. That'd be so cool. Put Coda as the championship finale. Coda was the best race of the year so far. The best race of the year, hands down. Had the most memorable finish. It was incredible. Then final stage and watching Christopher Bell work his way past Kyle Busch. That would be an incredible finale. Over anything that Phoenix has done over the last 4 or 5 years, over anything Homestead's ever done. I know the racing purists would be pissed, but you know it's going to happen at least once because they said they're going to rotate it.
Yes, I do like that.
Yeah.
I do like that aspect.
Phoenix is going to be in that rotation, and I would like to see at least once a road course as the championship finale, and I think that would be awesome because you're telling me Christopher Bell, who has been in the Final Four, seemingly like consistent base over the last several years, except when he got screwed last year, that he's proven he can go out and win a road course. Mm-hmm. You're telling me he wouldn't be a deserving champion if he goes out and wins a road course just because it's a road course? That's not NASCAR, not because it's an oval.
I don't disagree with the road course take.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
No, I think that'd be a great play, and it's very possible here in the future when they rotate. But a drafting track, come on. You want to see these guys ride around the track for 200 laps, saving fuel, and then the last 50 laps, they start wrecking each other? I don't want it.
It's drama, dude.
I don't
That's
want
why
it.
I tune into sports.
But
But
there really isn't, though. Outside of the wrecking, it's like these cars have so much downforce to where they can't even formulate runs to make a move for the lead. So it's almost like a track position game at this point at the drafting tracks, and I think that would be a really awful decision. And I don't think it's ever going to happen. Yeah.
And they've never really. It's interesting. They've never really addressed that as such as their season opener for the big money race, the Daytona 500. Mm-hmm. But you're right. The drivers just have accepted it. It's like, this is something I've got to do. I've got to be prepared to be at the right place at the right time. And that's all part of the strategy going in. But for a season finale, there might be too many other things on the line.
Middle ground. Mm-hmm. How about a middle ground, Cole? I'm trying to make you a trade offer.
Kansas?
The NFL draft is...
God, no.
Kansas.
The NFL draft is this week, and so we have a lot of GMs calling each other trying to make trades. So here's my offer to you.
Okay.
I don't really get anything in return. You just get Atlanta as the season finale. How about that?
I'll tell you, I would definitely take that.
All right, there we go.
There's more in the driver's control at Atlanta as opposed to Daytona or Talladega.
Lock it down.
I could see it happening.
When they announced that,
I could see Atlanta have.
Okay, hold on. Who knows, or do we know yet, the rotational tracks?
No.
Atlanta better be in there.
I could see it. Vegas, Atlanta.
Yep. Oh,
but
Vegas?
the thing, I guess Atlanta
Vegas.
can. If Atlanta can host Super Bowls, it can host a NASCAR championship. I was about to say there's nothing really special that says Atlanta championship. But hey, they host Super Bowls, they host college football playoffs.
Yeah,
so they've proven as a city. I went to Kenny Crash and myself were all in Atlanta for the Super Bowl many years ago, which we won't talk about.
The only reason we won't talk about it is
No.
the Rams didn't win.
And it was great, and I enjoyed my time there in Atlanta, other than the fact that it was freezing cold. But it was in the middle of February.
Freezing, by the way, at 40 degrees.
Yeah,
Freezing for Richie.
Richie did not bring a jacket with
He
him.
didn't bring-
And I left my jacket at a gay bar.
That's right. You did. You did.
Remember that I had the
Yes.
Continental Tire jacket,
Yes.
and I even went back there to
Yep.
try and find it.
We
you
went
know?
to this bar right by our hotel. I'm like, oh,
It's
well,
awesome.
we might not be the preferred clients here, but let's drink. Let's go.
Had a great time.
It was
there with
fun.
my wife, and I made sure everybody knew that. Had some good friends. Had Richie
They
go to
had
the-
good music.
Yeah, it's
And
awesome.
the drinks were great.
What's your point, Richie?
Okay, yeah, sorry.
got
Let's
off
go
in-
back
in
to
the gay bar.
Atlanta.
Okay, go ahead.
Atlanta.
My point being, Cole doesn't want to be at a super speedway. I do, and that was my middle ground, was to
Okay.
go to
Yeah.
Atlanta instead.
Are you good with
Yeah.
that, Colson?
Yeah, absolutely.
The purist over there?
It's not a technical super speedway. It's still a 1.5 mile track. So yeah, let's
But
do
it
it.
has the aspects of the unpredictability of the super speedway, but not as bad as Talladega or
Yeah.
Daytona. So
And you're in
Okay.
control.
Yeah, yeah. So the rotation arguably should be Atlanta, Homestead, Phoenix, Vegas. Anybody else? Should we throw
Road
Coda
course.
in
There's
there?
got to be a road
Should be a
course.
road
in there.
course in
I
there.
think Charlotte Oval.
Oh.
I could do Charlotte
Because
Oval.
it's the home of NASCAR. The 1.5 mile
Yeah.
tracks have consistently put out the best product in this next gen car.
Okay.
And yeah, that's always been one of my favorite tracks. I think the driver is too, I would assume.
Oh, without question. To be able to go home
Mhm.
right after
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
win or you do whatever with the race and you can go home
Mhm.
to your own bed.
For the record, I don't want Kansas and I don't want Vegas.
You don't want
Why
Vegas.
not
why?
Vegas?
Don't.
It would race differently, like we've been arguing here. It would race
That's a good
differently as the
point.
finale.
That's a good point. But over past experiences, you know what? I would race Cole different to that front door if there was $1,000 versus someone's coming there to sell me some shit, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I'll give you that. If it's the, let me back up just a second. Damn it, we would spend 13 minutes on this already.
It's okay, go.
Here is, and again, I know you're set in your ways. You're wearing a goddamn Mets hat, Cole. So I
The left
understand
GM.
this.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Okay. When people talk about certain races and they try and knock it, fuel mileage, tires, horsepower, what a super speedway, Dega or Daytona does for me is, and again, it doesn't mean the champion has to win the race.
Sure.
It's just that champion has to finish ahead of those other three cars
Mhm.
if we're going with the same format, right?
Mhm.
And being able to find that position on the track for 200 laps, 200 whatever it is, and maintain that position. And there's a different strategy. I'm trying to talk myself into a super speedway as
Not working.
I would have no problem with it until I really have to think about it.
Here's the deal. Do you remember the conversations that we would have on Speed Freaks when this playoff format first came to fruition, when people were tired of Jimmy Johnson just dominating all the time?
Mhm.
Do you remember what one of our concerns was? And it never, it's been an issue, but it hasn't been a consistent issue. It was back markers taking out the guys vying for the championship. And so that's essentially what would happen on a super speedway track.
Yeah, you could have all four cars wreck out like in the first stage, realistically, you know?
Mhm.
So it's
And that's not fun.
not at all.
That's not championship worthy.
You know, it's black and white. It could either be the greatest finish in the history of mankind, or it could crap the bed and we go, why the hell did you go to Dega?
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's why Atlanta's a good middle ground, like Richie was saying, because it's still got super speedway properties.
Yeah, I'm just picturing
Kansas too.
that. God, that please make that happen where there's a championship race where all four of them crash out, because I'm thinking I'm thinking.
What?
No,
Richie,
I'm serious.
you just closed your eyes and said God, and you're the strongest atheist of the four
God
of us.
bless, hallelujah. We got another conclave coming up. Let's go.
And
All
it's
right.
great as he just closed his eyes and looked up to the skies, man. I hadn't seen that before. Woo, bring
Man,
Atlanta, man.
That's how
Easter.
passionate-
Look what Easter did.
That's how passionate. Yeah, we're after Easter. It's Good Tuesday, Good Wednesday, or whatever it's called now.
Good Wednesday.
It's called Hump Day.
Hump Day, yeah.
That was Power Hump Day.
So I'm just picturing
Oh,
how
Mary.
great the show is going to be on that Sunday night after a championship race at Talladega, where all four of the drivers wreck out, and that's what decides it. I'm like, please make that happen, because God, it'd be so good. It would be so good, because it'd be ridiculous and silly, and it ridiculous and silly makes for great conversation and great radio.
It does make for great conversation. That is valid.
And
So
the internet would be so mad.
I think, would be mad too, but we would enjoy the conversational part of it. But we would also be like crunching the numbers on our calculators the old school way. Of like, okay, who's really the champion? They all just wrecked out here. Hold on.
Whoever
Who's going to
finishes
go
the
back
most
in
last,
with?
baby. Come on.
You go with that shorter coda course. I'm down with that for the championship. Or would you go again? You want to talk about gimmicks? Let's talk about this freaking all-star race.
That's an all-star race.
I don't care. Saw what happened in the National Football League at All-Star game. Oh, there's no more All-Star game. What if?
Wow. What are we doing here?
The last four, no, you can't do that. But I can't do that either.
You can do whatever.
But the last three races, you go Dega, Coda, or you have three drastically different tracks. Bristol, Dega, road course.
But remember, there's supposed to be a cutoff before that last road course.
As like a championship round.
Yes.
Yes. That's that's what some drivers, I think Denny Hamlin and others have talked about that. And I think that's great. It's a perfect way to do.
Instead of a cutoff to
Absolutely.
the final race
Yeah,
only, you
and
have
you race three different formats inside your champion. That's genius.
Yeah,
That is
no, I
genius.
love
Well done,
that.
Kenny. Good stuff.
But they've all they diametrically different. I'm not talking about Kansas, Vegas, and Texas.
No,
No, of course.
No.
Yeah, mile and a half, short track, road course,
Right?
short track.
There you go, Freak
This is going
Nation.
to keep pushing short track.
Rodney Childers, he's gone from Spire Motorsports, and our good friend Cody Big Johnson texted this morning, and I looked at the text going, okay. And I could tell by the reaction of our text thread, nobody reacted to it.
Yes, I said it was big news. I said that's huge.
How many championships has Childers won?
I don't know exactly, but he's a big name. He's won what? Just
Rodney
one?
Childers
I
has
was
won
gonna
one
say more.
championship.
Yeah, with Kevin Harvick.
Yeah,
I was going to
2014.
say more than one. Wow.
No,
okay.
he's won one.
He's-
It's
okay.
and again, the association with Kevin, and I'm not knocking Childers. I'm not,
Right.
but
He's a good mind.
we
in
don't
the
need to
garage.
spend 10 minutes breaking down why Rodney Childers left Spire or Spire booted Rodney Childers. What's Haley sitting at points? 25, 27,
23rd.
23rd, the number 7? Get Spire Motorsports. Damn, isn't that where you go to retire? Isn't that
Pretty much.
we call it this, Richie? We call it this in football. Like cadaver with a hat. Coach of ASU.
It's Erickson.
Yeah, just Erickson. When he went to ASU, he had that sideways hat, the sidelines, looking up at the scoreboard, and I thought, that's a cadaver with a hat collecting a paycheck.
Yes.
Isn't at least the Spire Motorsports of old? Isn't that where you go to just to collect a paycheck and get the hell out of here?
Of old, yeah. But I mean, you've seen the competitive
Not
runs
now.
from Carson Hocevar.
Mhm.
Michael McDowell's no slouch.
Right?
I mean, Haley's had some decent runs there too, but it's not the most competitive organization. So yeah, you can say that.
Okay. I don't know if we need to spend a whole lot of time on Rodney Childers. Anybody?
I mean, he's been in the sport for 21 years,
Right.
in the Cup Series crew chief, and he's one of the best minds in the garage, as Crash was saying. So it's going to be a big loss, but I could see how that would wear on someone, especially when you go from working with SHR and Kevin Harvick for all these years to now, obviously Spire and not being as competitive. So I liked his reasoning, wanting to spend more time with family and friends. So yeah, that's about all I got.
That's what they all
That's
say.
what they all collect the paycheck.
That's the
Hard.
PC answer, you know?
It is the PC answer, but there was a get together. Well, there was a funeral for John Edwards yesterday, and a lot of people talking about how the sport is it's just burnout central. And NASCAR just experienced their one and only weekend off with Easter. They have nothing off until November after the season. And so that's a topic right now. And so it kind of comes in line with this announcement with Rodney Childers leaving Spire. And it's like, oh, is this sport, do we need more time off in the sport? I would always argue, yes, we do. That 2-week Olympic break last year was magic for so many teams. Give people more time off because, yeah, it's a burnout sport, massive burnout sport.
NASCAR Hall of Fame nominees were announced. Cole,
Yes,
tell
sir.
me who Alvin Hawkins is.
Alvin Hawkins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing for you on that one.
Okay, and you probably won't. You know what this is? And
Fill us in, Ken.
they're running
Yeah, come
out
on.
of people already when it comes to the NASCAR Hall of Fame. right?
It's because they've
I
inducted
would,
so many.
I would argue that, yeah.
They're running out of people. Alvin Hawkins. And the Landmark Award will be given to the individual who is voted upon for their contributions to stock car racing. The nominees are Lisa France Kennedy. I get it. Dr. Joseph Mattioli, the founder of Pocono Raceway. Les Richter. Hell yes.
Dude, yes.
Yeah. And Alvin Hawkins.
Okay.
NASCAR's first flagman, established NASCAR racing at Bowman Gray Stadium with Bill France Sr. That's how far we've gone down. Oh, come on.
No, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. NASCAR's very first flagman.
Oh, my gosh. Stephen Perkins, the first referee in the National Football League to throw a flag on the Cleveland Browns against the Detroit Lions in the championship game.
Of course it was against Cleveland Browns.
I don't know. Could you imagine?
No, that would be a thing with the NFL. Yes. I'm okay with this. I'm okay. It's just a nominee anyway.
It's a
not like
museum, bro. Get over it. You know,
Yeah.
it's trying to tell the history of the sport. And you can't tell the history of the sport without the first flagman.
For that category landmark award, I mean, it's like I could
Yeah.
see it, but
The first flagman.
it's a bit of a
That's
reach.
interesting, dude. Is that not? That's interesting to me. The history, like you do any sports Hall of Fame. You're just telling the history of that particular league. And I think like learning about Alvin Hawkins, he may not be a big name, but like that's a cool little piece of it. Like, oh, that's interesting. That's not me like joking. That's like, oh, that's cool, and then I'll forget about it in 10 minutes.
So why not the first person to hand a goddamn trophy to somebody? What's bigger, man, a flagman or a trophy?
Because trophies used to be girls. And
Yeah.
they had to be hot. You are literally the trophy girl. And then you kiss the driver and victory. Like, no, that's not necessary.
And I will, and in all sincerity, if Alvin Hawkins was an African American and he threw the first flag, I'd be all about it because of the significance or lack thereof people of color in NASCAR. I think that would be badass. But just to say that this dude was the first flagman, didn't even wave the damn flag. He's a flagman here.
You're questioning
Alvin.
if he waved the flag. Of course he waved the flag. He's the first flagman. He didn't just go,
I don't know. What did it was it
Statue of Liberty
special?
pose.
right?
Was it special? And is the flagman back then? Is the flagman back then the flagman that stood up on the flag stand, or was that the guy in turn one waving the yellow flag saying, "Up, there's a wreck over here in turn
I think
two"?
you're making your case, Kenny. I think that this is exactly why they put him in there, so they can tell this story. This man was in between the rafters, in between turns 1 and 2, and he braved his soul to get out there as the cars were speeding past him to wave a caution.
God, it's gonna be incredible when I take Henley to the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte for the first time. Dad, where'd you go? I'm over here with Alvin Hawkins, first flagman, Bill France Sr.
Well, you don't think that'd be cool to like go buy that exhibit and then they still have the first ever like green flag they
That's
ever
cool.
waved in the sport?
That's cool.
And then you have to explain that story, like, oh, this is the guy who did it. I think that's like a cool piece of information.
It is a part of
Yeah.
the sport, so yeah.
Kenny just doesn't appreciate history. That's all.
But he's up against Lisa. It's like, oh hell, who else could we put in there with 3 nominees that might deserve? Alvin Hawkins, yeah, man.
Okay, obviously Lisa's going to take this nomination, but don't these nominees carry forward? So yeah, maybe eventually he will be thrust into the museum because of votes and people learning about him. Oh, here we go. History is coming. People learn about him, and in 3 years, he's going to be in that museum.
Pete
Mark.
Rose is not in Major League Baseball
Totally different. Totally
Hall
different.
of Fame.
That's
But
politics.
There are stories that pertain to Pete Rose that are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So Alvin Hawkins can be in the GDAM Hall of Fame, but he
As a
doesn't
story?
need
I just want Banjo Matthews to get in. He's one of the pioneer ballot nominees.
See there?
Oh, Alvin Hawkins should probably be more of a pioneer ballot instead of landmark.
Banjo Matthews, the real person, folks. He built cars that won more than 250 NASCAR Cup Series races and 3 championships.
Okay.
Badass.
That's
really badass.
significant.
Yeah.
That's actually way cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what if Banjo was the first? Oh boy, we're running out of people, man.
Flags are a big part of the sport, Kenny.
LaWanna
The
Johnson, the
first one
first
has
one
to
to
be
sell a
someone.
hot dog at a NASCAR sanctioned race. She is part of the Landmark Award nominees. The bathroom attendant at Bowman Gray Stadium, the first NASCAR sanctioned race. Steven Schlitterbahn is part of the Landmark Award.
People in Texas love that
Your
you
name-
just give that name.
Seriously, your name is Banjo. You need to be in.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah. That warrants definitely an induction.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Kidding me?
Oh boy, the NASCAR
Did you
All-Star.
flunk history, by the way?
Did I flunk history?
Yeah. Just curious. Because you don't seem to appreciate history.
No. Oh hell. 26 minutes into this damn thing. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I don't remember taking history.
There it is. Okay, that's all I
Oh,
needed.
yeah, I do. Okay. What do we got here? Oh, NASCAR All-Star Race format. And I think Richie and Cole are working on the Cliff Notes version of how to explain what's going to be going down with this NASCAR All-Star Race new format.
Oh, before we get to that, you mentioned Alvin Hawkins, but you don't mention Kurt Busch and Randy LaJoie getting their nominations for the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I mean,
Come on.
So
Really?
That's easy. That's easy. That's
Pretty noteworthy.
That's easy. You go for something where you could spend 10 minutes talking about, okay, Randy LaJoie worthy? Yes. Kurt Busch worthy? Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
He's a
yes.
champion.
Okay, that's easy. End of discussion.
But
Why was there hesitation there?
yeah,
A little shocked.
Listen, we're going to be having 46 Alvin Hawkins by the time I'm in retirement home. I'm going to be going, what? Because Kyle Larson's going to be into the Hall of Fame here in the next 5 years. He's still going to be racing.
Not legal, but okay.
At least with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they've got what was it, 25 years of your first release, something of that nature. Oh, here we go, rabbit holes.
First release. Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute, what?
So, yeah, okay, I understand. Yeah, Kurt Busch, Randy LaJoie, I get it. I mean, Neil Bonnet, yes.
Harry Gant.
Harry Gant, I knew you were going to say that next. Man, I don't know. God. Anyway.
I mean,
You're essentially questioning. Sorry, Cole, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
you're good.
Are you essentially questioning why do we just keep adding all these names? We can't have everybody in the Hall of Fame. Is that kind of where your vision is going with this? Like, come on, people. It needs to be reserved for the top of the top.
I think what NASCAR did out of the gate is they mistakenly put a crap ton of names in there. I understand.
Kept doing that year after year.
It's like, let's cut it back.
Five.
When I get these emails, I look at the title and I delete it.
Yeah, me too.
I do, because it's just not that important to me now. When you
You
have,
feel like they've devalued it.
Yes,
They've devalued
absolutely.
the importance. Okay.
when you have the National Football League, remember you've got what, 1,200 dudes a year.
Yeah.
Is that what it is in the National Football League? Right.
Yeah.
The National Football League, that's a tough Hall of Fame to get into. And I think that NASCAR shot their wad and they have to follow this up every year with all these freaking names.
They don't have to. They can peel it back to 2 or whatever, 2 or 3 a year. They don't have to do 5.
I can promise you this. Cole Cusimano will not be waiting by his phone for the email to come out or the announcement on whatever social media he's going to be referencing for who is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. NASCAR. It's not that important to Cole. God, is Neil Bonnet going to get in? Oh, damn it.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of dated, or not dated, but like we're losing like its value here.
Mm-hmm.
Not to put any disrespect on the people that have been nominated, but
Absolutely not.
it's just oversaturated at this point. I think you're right.
Or what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame does. It's just the Music Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what NASCAR needs to do. I know you have the Sprint Car Hall of Fame, but what Steve Kinser meant to drivers and the series, does Steve Kinser go in the NASCAR Hall of Fame?
Oh, I got you.
He taught him a few things. He taught him a few tricks. I mean, yeah. Oof.
Think about it.
It's worth a discussion.
Okay. Yeah. All right. NASCAR All-Star Race format was announced. And I will divulge this in our pre-show meeting for this horsepower hump day. We're all looking at each other going, okay, no, you explain this. No, when you explain this. Cole Cusimano is flabbergasted at this new format that was announced. Is that right, Cole?
It's not just the format, it's the event itself. Like I'm so over the All-Star race. This used to be a crown jewel event. And like I had like family and friends texting me, like they're watching the Masters. They're like, oh, what's the equivalent of like a NASCAR Grand Slam? I'm going back to all the crown jewel events. There's the Daytona 500, Southern 500, Coke 600. And I was like, oh, I mean, we used to have the Brickyard. They just brought it back. And there used to be the All-Star race, which we still have, but it's just there's no juice behind this anymore at all. I could not be more disinterested in this event. It's just completely non-competitive, and it's just boring. I have no interest whatsoever. And they just keep going gimmicks out there, and it's just not sticking, in my opinion.
Compare it to the Clash.
Compare it to the Clash?
Yes. Your interest level for the preseason Clash.
I have an interest in the Clash only because it's to kick off the season.
Right.
And I'm starving for some more NASCAR. But the All-Star race, it used to be a big event, racing for $1 million. You're at the home of NASCAR and guys are duking it out. It's a great track in Charlotte. Now you're at North Wilkesboro. They went to Bristol. They went to all these different tracks in this current modern era, I should say. And it just has not been the same. It's not been fun.
Do you think rotating the All-Star race is what started its devaluation?
I think so. But I think like towards the end of Charlotte's tenure as the home of the All-Star race, it also kind of just got very stagnant because the racing wasn't very good. But now,
hence why they needed to rotate it.
Charlotte now has one of the best on-track products with this current car. So just go back to Charlotte.
You know what's more exciting than the All-Star race, and it's sad to say, the duels.
Absolutely.
Oh,
The duels, which the significance of the duels, I understand it, but watching the duels, I would much rather sit in front of with my buds and watch the duels than I would the All-Star race because of unless there is going to be, what was it, a right hook with Stenhouse to Kyle Busch's melon? Is that what we need for us to stay glued to the All-Star race?
Well, I remember when we were doing the show last year and the All-Star race was like just wrapping up just prior to us going live. And all of us were like, what do we talk about? There was nothing interesting about this race. Kyle Larson won it and dominated in pretty impressive fashion. Was last year the first North Wilkesboro All-Star event too? Yeah, so there was like a little bit of that to talk about. But other than that, we were like, what the hell do we talk about for 2 hours? Because the All-Star race was completely uninteresting. And then about 10 minutes before the show, and we see Ricky Stenhouse hanging out, waiting for Kyle Busch. And then
like a sniper we saw.
Yeah, and then we see them, something's gonna happen here. And Kenny and I both look at the TV, and because we were wanting something to talk about, and we go, please throw a punch. Please, Kyle, Ricky, throw a punch. And gosh darn it, they did. And we're like, thank God our show is programmed. And we just took whatever we had planned and we threw in the shredder. And it was one of our most popular shows of the entirety of last year. So please, somebody in the NASCAR garage, throw a punch this year so we have something to talk about, because I can almost guarantee you the race ain't going to give us anything.
No, not at all.
So a couple of the new aspects, it goes from 200 to 250 laps.
They've increased it.
It's also going to feature a manufacturer's showdown and a promoter's caution. Hold on a second. The promoter's caution will be used prior to lap 220. If it has not been used and a natural caution falls after lap 200, it will no longer be in play. There will also be a competition caution on or near lap 100.
I'm not a fan of competition cautions, but proceed. I'm okay with the promoter's caution.
Do you think
it's so gimmicky, but I'm okay with it?
This whole thing is so stupid. I'm like heated over here with this event.
Go for it. Okay. Spill your heat.
Well, I mean, I pretty much went through it
to
open it up. But yeah, it's just such a pointless event now. There's nothing behind it. And it's sad because it used to be a really good event. There was so much on the line and a lot of like tempers would flare up, but very uninspiring.
No Riz.
No Riz.
Yeah.
There is.
No more T-Rexes on cars anymore.
I
either.
did pitch this to you guys before the show, so I'm going to throw it out there again. So I hope you guys have had a chance to think about this, which is, I think Jeff Gluck put this out, and he was kind of like, oh, I think he thought it was kind of interesting. Like, okay, number one, who is the person that decides to throw this promoter's caution, and when do they do it? And so I threw it out there. You can pick anybody. Pick anybody, and who is the one person you want in charge of throwing the competition promoter's caution? And so my idea was to make it as random as possible and somebody completely outside of the realm of motorsports, but would certainly bring some eyes to the All-Star race. I want Sabrina Carpenter.
Oh.
I want Sabrina Carpenter up in that booth, and you have Sabrina Cam, and she does, and so you have Sabrina Cam, and then they go, and then it's Mike Joy who toss it, and he goes, okay, now it's time to go to Sabrina Cam. And then you go to Sabrina Cam, Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, they have no idea who this is, obviously. And what makes it even funnier. So they go to the Sabrina Cam, and she goes, have you ever tried this one? And just presses the big yellow caution button. At any time during the race, not just once. And she decides when the promoter's caution happens. Have you ever tried this one? Caution button. How great would that be?
There might be some William Byron bias with that decision to throw the caution, though.
Ooh.
You know?
Wink.
All right, so here you go.
A-okay.
Richie is putting it out there, Freak Nation. So who would you put in that promoter's caution? Could be anybody on the planet. Who would you put in that promoter's caution to drop that first caution? Anytime before, what I say?
220.
For lap 220. Richie says Sabrina Carpenter.
And that's if William Byron is leading.
No, that's not. No, absolutely not. No, she.
You know, I'm afraid to go to Cole Cusimano. You're gonna go DeGrom or something.
Oh, I love DeGrom.
Oh.
No.
Who would you go? Who would be your celebrity caution?
Oh, celebrity?
It doesn't have to be a celebrity.
Person, whatever.
I was gonna go with a more sensible person that I feel like would be fitting too, because I feel like every All-Star race, they've made it a point to get Bryson Burns involved in the broadcast. As we all mentioned last week, Steve Burns, 10-year anniversary of his passing, very integral part of the sport and broadcasting. I think it'd be cool if Bryson Burns did the promoter's caution.
Wow,
but
kind of
Jeez, that's very cute.
Not to be a downer.
kind of brought it down, man.
Jeez.
No, it's heartfelt.
What?
I like it.
Oh, wow.
For a more fun and chaotic pick, Clint Boyer.
Okay.
I want to see how quickly he pushes that button.
Clint Boyer's money.
Do they still do that this year?
Nah.
Clint Boyer's money? It's done? Okay.
No. Crasher, who are you going with?
I mean, it would have to be the lawyers suing NASCAR.
Oh!
It would have to be the lawyers for RFK in 2311. Boom. They got the button. They say, NASCAR, just let me have it. Let me have it. As soon as my boys are in front, bam, throwing it.
We all know who owns Bowman Gray. I mean, who's the promoter behind the Bowman Gray?
I actually don't. Who I actually
Who is
don't know.
Bowman Gray?
Yeah, I have no idea.
That's SMI, right?
No,
okay,
not
sure.
Bowman Gray.
Isn't it? Cody, fact checker, is it?
I don't
Somebody help
think
me
SMI
out.
is
Oh,
Bowman
you're
Gray.
talking. North Wilkesboro is where they're actually. Yeah.
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 I'm sorry. Why did I say Bowman Gray? Sorry about that.
Okay.
North Wilkesboro.
Yeah, that's Marcus Smith.
Yes. That's for the All-Star race, all right? That wouldn't be a bad idea, because if you go back, and again, there are so many new NASCAR fans here that you don't recall the issues between SMI and NASCAR. Bruton Smith and the France family in public, but more so not in public, the way they butted heads. Marcus Smith to throw a controversial person up there to drop the first caution.
Oh, so you're not saying, Marcus, take it yourself. You're saying throw somebody else controversial.
Yeah, if it's Marcus's job to find somebody,
Okay. Yeah.
boom.
Mhm.
Me?
What? You want to do it?
Kanye West.
Ooh, I don't know about that.
We'd get a diatribe of just ridiculousness. No, I don't. I don't wanna do
Kanye
that.
I'm not
freaking
touching that
West.
with the 10-foot pole.
No,
Kanye
no.
West.
Sydney Sweeney,
Oh, jeez.
big Blaney fan.
Oh,
Do we want eyeballs on the race? We're trying to find some significance. Damn
Okay.
it! Clint Boyer's already part of the freaking process.
Yeah.
So are the attorneys. Richie Sabrina Carpenter's badass. Get new eyeballs on that. When is Sabrina going to drop it? When is Kanye going to? What is Kanye going to do something really stupid? You guys are so effing boring. Is that what we got here now? Jeez.
I'm looking at these two. At least me and Kenny are thinking outside the box.
Wait a minute. I got the lawyers suing NASCAR. Come on.
All right, I'll change mine. Antonio Brown.
Ooh,
Big on Twitter. Big NASCAR fan. He FaceTimes Mark Martin all the time.
That's actually really funny.
Antonio
good.
Brown would be an incredible
All right.
promoter's caution.
Good
Tweet him. I'll tweet him.
Surprise Colton
ready
say,
for
you
this?
know, I double checked Alvin Hawkins' family. And his great-great-granddaughter doesn't live too far from the track. And why don't we bring his 12-year-old great-great-granddaughter in here to wave the yellow flag, the caution? God damn.
I like that.
Jeez, I'm not even going to, yeah.
Do you want to put it out there, Richie?
Yes, I will.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not saying I would agree with, don't get the wrong G-damn impression, that I would agree with freaking Kanye West being there. But if we want to stir some mess up.
Okay. That's why
All
you
right.
pick. Okay.
So you're going to go with Antonio Brown?
Yeah, go with AB.
Okay.
Yeah, lock it in.
All right.
He can go to the booth and hand out his Cracker of the Day award.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Winner gets $1 million and Cracker of the Day.
Badass. All right, Crash, you're sticking with your.
Give me the lawyers. Yeah.
Well, who's the one attorney? What's his name? What's the guy's name? Polk, right?
No, not Curtis.
He's
Polk.
the
with team.
2311 guy.
Yeah, he's with the team. Yeah, I'll find a name if you want me to find a name.
Oh, I'm
of the
sorry. I thought
lawyers.
you were talking about the attorneys with the team.
I am the attorneys representing the teams.
Well, I just get Polk. That's my point. It's like, yeah.
But Curtis is a team member. But okay, no.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
All right. So you'll
I'm
be able
one
to
of those.
put that out, Richie.
I'll make it work.
This might be a poll where I actually freaking lose for a change.
Oh.
I'm usually so freaking spot on with my picks.
Great.
Katherine Legge, she pushes back against some gnarly freaking comments and death threats that she's been getting, and evidently specifically following the Rockingham race where if you have a chance to, Richie, let's put that link out on our X account of her interview where she details some of the gnarliness that has come her way regarding where she is in the sport. All right.
I have a piece of it if you'd like.
Yeah, let's play. Well, let's set it up first. Of all of us here on set, one person who's not on camera watched more of the G-Dam race than any of us did. Richie, you actually saw the race. I forget what
Yes.
was that a soccer tournament? What the hell was I doing?
What were we doing Saturday night? Well, we had an Easter party.
We had Easter party. You know,
We had an Easter party. We had our own little egg hunt in our backyard.
there was an incident with Katherine Legge. Again, this is an Xfinity Series race. Katherine Legge, who isn't she the quickest IndyCar driver ever to qualify for the Indy 500?
Nailed it.
Right.
Yep.
Sports car pilot.
Ever to race an IndyCar, period. I mean, the fastest
Right.
speeds are at Indianapolis.
Okay.
That happens to be her. Yes.
Richie, there was an incident between her, Swalich, and Casey Kane. Correct?
Yes, there was. I don't remember exactly at what point in the race this took place, but yeah, there was a long green flag run, and the leaders were starting to go through the lap cars, and Katherine Legge got lapped by the leader. The leader got past Katherine just fine. She was kind of up in the second lane at Rockingham. There were two lanes essentially before you got too high and got up in the marbles, and you would have been up in the wall. So she was kind of in that second lane, and I think she had to slow up a little bit in one of the turns, a little bit slower than you would expect. And William Swalich went right into the back of Katherine Legge, and she crashed out. Casey Kane was a part of that crash as well. He was running inside the top 10 at that point too. If you were listening to the broadcast, the They were saying in live commentary that they thought that Katherine was going a lot slower than she should have been. They weren't really sure if it was because, she was going slow intentionally, or maybe there was an issue with the car going into that specific turn, but she was really off the pace. And then Sawash caught her rear end, and that was the end of her race.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's also a knock on how she got in the race. In practice, she was top 25 qualifying. However, in practice, however, in qualifying, she got loose in turns, I think turn 1 or turn 2.
Exit of 2.
And did not qualify for the race. However, as we've seen more so in open wheel IndyCar, where someone gives up their ride, well, they don't give it up. They're bought out. We see it in IndyCar. And when it comes to what?
Especially the Indy 500, yes.
Right. She took
Sponsors,
J.J. Yaley's ride, so she caught grief about that as well. And I don't think any of us, we have no issue with Katherine Legge as a driver that she's achieved. If she gets into a race by the rules, I've got no problem with it. Right? Anybody?
No.
Right?
If it's within the rules, absolutely.
Okay.
You play any game by its rules.
Okay.
Yep.
And again, it's tough for me to comment on the race specifically because I didn't see it.
Right.
I did not see the race. But nothing warrants the vitriol that's come her way from what looks to be grown-ass men, as Marco Andretti said, hammering her about her sex, her family, her ability to drive, women in the sport. In fact, Richie, you have some of the podcast that she was on talking about.
Yes. Katherine has her own podcast. It is called Throttle Therapy with Katherine Legge. And she did put out about a 15-minute podcast after the Rockingham race discussing a lot of this. So you can go check it out on your podcast feed, Apple Podcast, Spotify, wherever you get that. But yeah, I pulled about 2.5 minutes of it so you can hear her response to the Rockingham vitriol over the last 48 hours or so.
Let's just say drama. And I hate that it's that way. It hasn't been that way in the past. So this is a new phenomenon for me. And I hate that I have to defend said drama. Yet here we are again after Rockingham. So obviously Rockingham didn't go as planned, and I will get into that. But first of all, I want to say that being a woman racing in NASCAR, it comes with an incredible sense of pride. And obviously it comes with a level of scrutiny and harassment. However, I will say the hate mail, the death threats, and the inappropriate sexual comments that I've received aren't just disturbing, they're unacceptable. Let me be very clear. I'm here to race and I'm here to compete, and I won't tolerate any of these threats to my safety or to my dignity, whether that's on track or off of it. Racing is a passionate sport, and I understand that fans have strong opinions. And honestly, I love that and I respect that about our sport. Constructive criticism is part of the game, and I'm always open to learning and improving. I promise that I will always take accountability for the mistakes that I make. However, what I think people need to understand is there's a very thin line between feedback and personal attacks. And it's really disappointing to me to see how often that line gets crossed. I think that we can all agree that social media channels over the latter years are becoming progressively more toxic. And what's happening to me, it isn't just about me. Online bullying obviously exists across every major sport around the world, whether you're good, bad, or indifferent at that sport. However, the level of hate that myself and my team are experiencing at the moment is part of a broader issue that I believe women specifically face in male-dominated spaces. And actually the FIA, the sports governing body, have come out with a document about it because it's so bad in Europe and around the rest of the world as well. It's not just a USA thing. We can't normalize this issue, in my opinion. There's nothing normal about it. It's totally unacceptable. I have earned my seat on that racetrack. I've worked just as hard as any of the other drivers out there. And I've been racing professionally for the last 20 years. I'm 100% sure that the OEMs and the teams that employed me, without me bringing any sponsorship money for the majority of that 20 years, did not do so as a DEI hire or a gimmick or anything else. It's because.
Yeah, she's 100% spot on. I mean, there's more to that. We cut it off a little bit. I am going to disagree with her when she says there's a thin line between constructive criticism and harassment. No, there's not. That's a thick as shit line is what that is. If you think that you can cross that line, you've got the issues. That is not a thin line. That is something that is absolutely inappropriate. Sure, give her constructive criticism, especially if you seem to be so much of a better driver. You go, Mr. Fan on your parents' couch. But no, you never cross over into anything sexually abusive or defamatory or death threat like. I don't even know why that crosses into some people's cerebellums. That is just 100% wrong. People do it with basketball players. People do it with baseball players, football players. Why? Why do you feel the need to be so vitriolic to superstar athletes, even if you don't think they're superstar? I just don't understand that methodology. I don't understand how people can process that sort of okayness in their brains. It's not a thin line. Just don't do it. Constructive criticism, fine. Keep it constructive. Don't keep it ridiculous.
Cole and Richard C. Suave, you are the younger gentleman of this show. And what's been awesome to watch with your generation and my daughter's generation, she's 20 years younger than you guys, is how these instances have wavered. And they're not erased, but they're not as prominent. And I would assume, and I say this speaking from experience of being married to Crash and watching her have to deal with, foreshot, Cody, watching her have to deal with some of these issues from these male chauvinist pigs that have been in the business, some that are still in the business, things they've said, things they've done, actions they've taken with women, Crash in particular, that it's the older set.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of majority is the older set. Mm-hmm. It's not something that I see with 20-somethings or 30-somethings as prominent as my generation, mm-hmm. or even her generation, 10 years younger than me.
Do you guys agree?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm only 29 years old, so I can't really speak to like how it was back in the day. But I think that our generation, Richie, is definitely more accepting of people of color, gender, LGBTQ, all those things. I don't know if I really have a place to speak on that, just being that I haven't experienced any of that myself. But I just think it's disgusting when people do that stuff because, like you said, what's the purpose? Like, what's the end goal in insulting somebody? Like, it doesn't make any sense. It does no good. So that's all I got to say.
She said something in her comments about how we can't normalize this, meaning the treatment against women, or we could go against any sort of minority in a male-dominated series or space, as she referred to it. But we do normalize the fact that Joe Blow is driving 15th, driving 20th, and nobody gets mad at him for creating a wreck, or nobody gets mad at him on a week in and week out basis for not being up at the front of the field. It's like, guys, everybody needs their time. Does she need more seat time in a car? Potentially. And I'm not a real big fan of NASCAR's rules right now, in which she's not allowed very much practice time at all. And I am on record every single time it happens for the Indy 500. I am not a fan of a sponsor buying somebody's ride who did not qualify. I'm a rules person. If you didn't qualify based on the rules or the owner's points, and again, none of this goes against Katherine. This is the rule. So yeah, if you don't qualify based on the way the rules are set, okay, on to next week. Same thing with the Indy 500. But we normalize the fact that not everybody's a Kyle Larson. Not everybody is a Christopher Bell. So my God, just because she's female, you're giving her so much shit and you feel okay about that? You're not doing that to the other guys at the back of the field. So yeah, it's just wrap your head around your behavior and what you're really doing, because it's unacceptable.
what you've seen with Toyota and their driver development program, people of color, women, minorities, has been awesome. I don't think they get enough recognition, what Toyota has done.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that NASCAR changed their name, their driver diversity program, to another name because of the temperature around this country right now. Regardless of what you call it, we have to understand that there are still issues and major issues of welcoming minorities into sports, motorsports specifically. And for a world-class driver, do you have that Marco Andretti tweet? Richie, put that up if you will. A world-class driver, quickest woman to ever drive an Indy car. It happened in the Indy 500 qualifying.
Last year, yeah.
If you put her in a Penske car, you put her in a Ganassi car, it's a different animal. You put her in I'm talking about IndyCar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, frankly, right now. I wouldn't say the same for NASCAR, but you put her in a competitive ride, it's a different freaking animal, man.
Yep.
Marco Andretti had this to say about some of the comments regarding Katherine Legge. Is that up, Richie? All right. What does that say, Richie? I don't have it in front of me. Sorry.
She's unprepared. It says, it's wild to me how many grown men talk badly about badass girls like this. Does it make them feel more manly from the couch or something?
Mm-hmm. And that was in response to Ryan Vargas making fun of somebody else saying that she was unproven.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, she's got 20 years on her resume. She's won races in IMSA. She drove the freaking Delta Wing, which was a massive handful to drive. She did that for a couple of years. And she's the fastest woman in American closed course racing. So aside from drag racing, she's the fastest woman in America. So yeah, you unproven, my ass. So I then responded, I believe it was to Marco, not Ryan, but I tagged Ryan saying thank you, because this has been a stigma that women in motorsports have been fighting against for decades. You go back to the 70s, sure, it was a harder fight then with Shirley Muldowney and Desiree Wilson and, of course, Janet Guthrie, but we're still fighting it today. And where we can be better is with white dude comments, white dude badass comments from and Ryan Vargas. He's not even white. He just all dude comments. Let's just say guys respecting the craft of females in their sport, not disrespecting them, but respecting them and standing up for them. The more of that, the better. So thank you and more, please, because we need it. It's 2020 freaking 5 and we're still fighting the good fight. Yeah,
the thing that I think kind of irks me a little bit is none of the big name drivers have said a word. None. Okay, no disrespect to Ryan Vargas. He's big on social media.
You have a point
but
there.
Where's Denny Hamlin on this? Mm-hmm. Where's Kyle Larson? Right? Where are your big name IndyCar drivers outside of Marco Andretti? Why are none of them out there and saying this is total bullshit? Mm-hmm. That's how things are going to change. The biggest names in the sport have to come out and be more vocal about this and the way Katherine is being treated, and they're not, and they're all silent. They're all freaking silent. Denny Hamlin has the big Dale Earnhardt Jr. too. I would say this about Dale Earnhardt Jr. He needs to come on his show. He's not out yet, but whenever the next episode is, come out and make a bold statement, say this is total bullshit. You do not have any right to treat Katherine like this on social media. And that's the only way things are going to change, is if you have those big names coming out and with authority saying it's crap. And right now there's none of that because they're all silent and they're all complicit. And it's frustrating.
That's a great point.
Not making a comparison to Colin Kaepernick in the NFL, but when that was all a massive to-do, we kept saying, until Tom Brady or somebody big stands up, this is never going to go away. Yep. And that's exactly what needs to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't want to happen, and we saw this happen with a symbol with NASCAR. What I don't want to happen, because, again, we love this sport. We don't want it to get so bad to where the big names are picking it up. When TMZ picks it up, New York Times picks it up, LA Times, Wall Street Journal. What you have to do, NASCAR, is get ahead of this thing. You addressed it with the stars and bars, the rebel flag. That is not welcomed in the infield of it's not welcomed in any part of our racing. And you don't see it in the infield at all at any of these races. NASCAR, what you have to do is she's going to be racing more. She's going to be racing in a cup race, in 2 cup races. And she's going to be racing, man. So you better get ahead of this. You think she's catching grief in the Xfinity Series for a backmarker team? Holy smokes. You got to come out. You got to get ahead of this thing and not sit back there and wait for, the flames are getting hotter. Flames are getting hotter.
Yep.
Bam, we put out a release.
I'm not going to remember this. I was trying to pull it up, and there's just no time for me to get it verbatim. But the late, great Jim Hunter, damn, he was good being PR with NASCAR.
Right.
And he and Kate Davis with IndyCar, she and I were talking about this in Long Beach just a couple weeks ago. And excuse me, I'm going to butcher this, but how he taught Kate and others, it's like, you're never going to win over 100% of your audience. You're just never going to do it. You're never going to win over 100% of the fan base. But if you get out in front and you can at least pacify 40%, 50%, 60%, getting in front of the story, then you've won more than you did by not trying. Mm-hmm. So yes, getting out in front of it is the only way to make something like this cool off and to get better success out of the entire longevity of the story.
When we started Speed Freaks, my intention was to be different out of the gate. We're not as different as we were when we started. We're still pretty effing different. And a lot of people who cover NASCAR and motorsports are different now. I'm not saying we paved the way at all, but I'm saying we were the first and still are the only ones that do what we do, and we do it for all of motorsports. We're not afraid to mix it up. We had the head of a series, a major motorsports series, CART, bow down in front of us because we called him out on a couple of things. And at the end of the season in November at California Speedway, 2 years into our existence, mm-hmm. he bowed down to us saying, I understand it now. It was in fun. It's in jest. But when we started Speed Freaks, I wanted to walk through the door and people go, holy shit. Oh, and you're going to talk motorsports with a black man, a freaking goofball comedian, a white dude with can't even figure out his hair and earrings, and a woman? This is 25 years ago. It's just 25 years ago. And the shit we caught because of our presence, a minority, a personality that spoke the truth when it came to drivers.
Harshly the truth, too.
Me back there with fuel to the fire going, yeah, let's burn this baby, because we don't walk the pits in sports coats and pink shirts and ties and slacks. We're hanging out in shorts and just stuff that normal people, stuff that Dale Earnhardt Jr. did. We're bringing rap into NASCAR and hardcore metal. What Dale Jr. was doing in 2000, 2001. But people just had a beef with it. We're afraid of change. She doesn't know anything. Bullshit. She worked for NHRA teams. She worked for IndyCar teams. Her freaking father was assistant medical director at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And she knows more than every one of you sons of bitches that are watching us right now, and that'll be watching this continually till YouTube craps the bed. And the insults that she got were incredible. And I don't know if I was prepared for that. I probably could have done a better job as a man, as a boss, of standing up for it. And I think motorsports as a whole could have done better. But the grief and the misogyny that came her way of being a woman that knew her shit was, I can't even imagine us going through that. But yet we did. So to hear this crap 25 years later of these dudes, maybe women too, hammering Katherine Legge in a race car. She's driving a race car. She's not going into a freaking school with a machete. She's not going into a nursery with, no, she's driving a race car, but you're treating her like a freaking convict. So stop it with this madness. Thank goodness for my 11-year-old daughter and her friends. Man, You put a picture of her and her friends up there, it's the freaking world. It's India. It's Italy. It's America. It's Mexico. It's Nigeria. And it's beautiful. And that's where we're going. That's where we're going to be. But damn it, we got to hit these freaking speed bumps along the way, Crash.
If we don't hit them, then they'll keep going. We need to hit them because we need to flatten them.
Yeah.
That's just the bottom line. It's harsh, but it's needed.
So Cole, Richie, it's on you and your generation, my guys.
We're trying. We're trying. There's a reason why women's sports is becoming as big as it is.
Yep.
Crash, did you know that more people tuned in to watch the WNBA draft on ESPN than people tuned in to watch IndyCar Long Beach?
Yep.
Wow.
Amazing.
I did not know that.
Amazing.
The WNBA draft of all things. Paige Becker's #1 overall too.
Page
Right.
buckets, baby.
Dallas.
So Dallas Wings. Yeah, more people tuned in to watch that. It was I think it was the second highest rated WNBA draft of all time. WNBA ratings are up. WNBA attendance is up. Like NWSL is becoming more and more popular. Like we're getting there, man. We're getting there. It's growing. You know, everyone watches women's sports. All the cool people do.
Phoenix Suns, first game against Dallas Wings is in Dallas.
You mean Mercury?
Sorry, Mercury.
If the Suns play the Wings, holy moly.
Man,
Wings will still beat 'em.
Probably.
Listen, the two times that I've gone on and looked for WNBA tickets, Caitlin Clark, when we were in Indianapolis, we saw Caitlin Clark play.
Mhm.
And now with Paige Buckets with Dallas, I'm going to go watch her play with an 11-year-old daughter who's going to be blown out of her mind how freaking baller she is.
Mhm.
Bro, she was as interested in the women's bracket as she was the men's bracket.
NCAA. Yes, she was.
Yep.
And she won the women's bracket, didn't she? Yeah. She was mad there wasn't a trophy.
All right. Woo! Freak Nation, we do this every Wednesday, 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Every Wednesday, Speed Freaks Horsepower Hump Day. We didn't even talk Talladega. Holy shit.
Oh, hey.
Cole and I have a bet.
What's that?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah. Remember when I was going off about Kyle Larson not being able to do anything on super speedways?
Right.
Cole made a bet with me. We have yet to figure out the payoff, but we will at some point.
Yeah.
Right.
And Cole wanted to bet me that he thinks Kyle Larson is going to win on a super speedway this year. And I tell him, hell no. I said, hell no. That's not going to happen.
And I specifically said the spring Talladega race. And normally I would be very bullish on that after he just won the week prior. However, we've already seen repeat winners twice this year. So maybe a third. Kyle Larson, go back to back, Bristol and Talladega.
Not going to happen. Are you going to take him and beat the freaks?
I don't know. That's a good question.
See, he's not even confident.
Do
He's
it.
not even-
Do
I
it.
feel like I
Do
have
it.
to. I feel like I have to. I think he'll get a top
Yeah.
10.
Bro.
He'll get-
Shimmy
I
Christmas.
think he'll get a top 5. I don't think he's going to win the race, though.
How fast did he go at Indy today? Was he a 224 range?
How about this?
Mid 220s
Again,
today.
with 3 S-Box races, we're relying on Talladega to bring us back to the madness.
Of course.
And
Right?
it will.
It will,
It
won't
will. Oh, yeah.
it? It will. And for 200 laps, I don't bet those super speedways, Atlanta included, I don't leave the race. I just don't. There are times, sorry guys, Kansas, Vegas, I'll leave the race. I'll go do something with my daughter. But I don't leave the race when it comes to freaking super speedways at all. Thank you, Ryan Priest. Oh,
Jeez.
all right, man. Don't forget the Must Stop drops on Fridays, 7 a.m. Eastern on Official Speed Freaks YouTube page where Cole Cusimano and his brother Steven Cusimano get after it. Show you where you drop your dimes.
So shout out to Steven. He was out the last time we did a show, or he did a show, and Cole let me fill in. That was great. The people did not like what I had to say. I read some comments on the YouTube page that were giving me crap. I said we'd never come on the show again. So Steven's
Really?
back this week, everybody. Thank God. Thank God they don't have to deal with me again this week.
Richie killed it. He did a great job.
Richie is becoming that antagonist,
Oh
man.
no, I'm a Stephen A.
Play into it.
Stephen A. Smith, the Motorsports, baby. Come on.
Lean
Pretty
into
soon
it.
I'm gonna be running for president.
Lean in. There you go.
Because I'm 34, so I can run for president in 2028. I'll be eligible.
Oh,
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
I'm all for it.
Suave for president 2028, baby.
Yeah,
Come
now
on.
we're talking.
We have the Dan Gurney sticker, so yeah, let's make some Suave stickers. Yeah, let's go.
There it is, Freak Nation. All right, man. Again, every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. And, of course, Sunday night, the Big O Show, 7 o'clock Pacific and 10 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook Live. And then, of course, you catch the new episodes on Racer Network, Freak Nation, Mondays at noon Eastern and Pacific. Threw a lot of stuff at you. Oh, smokes. Richie, you like that backdrop?
Which one?
Yours.
Backdrop. You like your backdrop?
What's
love it.
behind you?
Mine?
Yeah.
What do I have? I haven't even
Dale
looked.
Jr. hood.
Oh, come on.
I didn't even look what was behind me. I've been too busy spewing great takes on this show. Oh, yeah, look. Yeah. Dale Earnhardt Jr. behind me. That's
Mhm.
pretty dope. I like that. Somebody actually tweeted at us,
Mm-hmm.
and they have the exact same one. So shout out to that guy who tweeted at us and has that same exact Budweiser. Yeah, that's pretty dope. like that.
Oh, we're twinning.
We were with Budweiser for 5 or 6 years,
Oh, wow.
and there's a stamp on the back of that. We got that in 2001,
Hmm.
and we had that hanging in our offices there in Ventura, off Ventura Boulevard in Studio City or Sherman Oaks.
Where was our
Yeah.
office? Sherman Oaks.
So I thought we'd
Yeah.
bring it back. And plus, I know
Nice.
my man Cody Big Johnson will put that up on Facebook, and we'll get 60,000 shares, 345,000 views just because Dale Jr. Dale Jr. is part of that.
He does. He knows how to post it.
Right? I got a freaking headache, man. I gotta get rid
Okay,
of this
let's
damn
go.
thing.
You got to coach soccer tonight. Woo!
All right, Freak Nation. Thank you guys for being a part of this big old thing. Follow us on X, Facebook, and of course, be sure you subscribe to Official Speed Freaks on YouTube. Later.